Hey, Bhagavatam class?
Prabhu. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, Prabhu. Should I
Yes,
start?
yes, Prabhu started.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुमीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading I'm just opening. Today we are reading Bhagavatam, third canto, 27th chapter. Okay, understanding the material nature. This chapter is all about understanding the material nature, and we are reading um, 19th sloka. So today it's about 3 third canto, 27th chapter, 19th shloka. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। अकृतकर्मबन्धोऽयं पुरुषस्य यत् आश्रयः गुणेषु सत्त्वप्रकृते कैवल्यं ते स्व अतः कथम्। Once again, अकृतकर्मबन्धोऽयं पुरुषस्य यत् आश्रयः गुणेषु सत्सु प्रकृतेः कैवल्यं ते स्व अतः कथम्। Synonyms: akrut, akartuha, of the passive performer, the non-doer, karma bandha, bondage to fruitive activities. I am this purushasya of the soul, yet ashrayaha caused by the attachment to the modes. Gunesh, guneshu, while the modes satsu are existing prakrite of the material nature, kaivalyam freedom teshu those ataha ends katam how. Translation. Hence, even though he is passive performer of all activities, how can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him, binds him? Let me repeat. Very interesting and very important question. We are all struggling with this. All jivas asking on behalf of us. Mother Devahuti is asking. Very pertinent and very relevant question. Hence, translation. Hence, even though he is the passive performer of all activities, how can there be freedom for the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him? Purport by His Divine Grace, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport. Although the living entity desires freedom from the contamination of the matter, he is not given release. Actually, as soon as a living entity puts himself under the control of the modes of material nature, his acts are influenced by the qualities of material nature and he becomes passive. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Prakriteha Kriyamanani Gunaha. Prakriteha Kriyamanani Gunaha. The living entity acts according to the qualities or modes of material nature. He falsely thinks that he is acting, but unfortunately, he is passive. In other words, he has no opportunity to get out of the control of material nature because it has already conditioned him. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of material nature. One may try to different ways to think that everything is void in the ultimate issue, that there is no God, and that even if the background of everything is spirit, it is impersonal. This speculation may go on, but actually, it is very difficult to get out of the clutches of the material nature. Devahuti possesses the question that although one may speculate in many ways, where is liberation as long as one is under the spell of the material nature? The answer is also found in Bhagavad Gita. Only one who has surrendered himself onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Mamaeva Prapadyante, can be freed from the clutches of Maya. So, the Bhagavad Gita sloka it is referred is 7.14. Since Devahuti gradually coming to the point of surrender, her questions are very intelligent. How can one be liberated? How can be a pure state of spiritual existence as long as he is strongly held by the modes of material nature? This is also an indication to the false meditator. There are many so called meditators who think I am supreme spirit soul. I am conducting the activities of material nature under my direction. The sun is moving and moon is rising. They think that by such contemplation or meditation they can become free. But it is seen that just 3 minutes after finishing such nonsensical meditation, they are immediately captured by the modes of material nature. Immediately after his eye sounding meditation, A meditator becomes thirsty and wants to smoke or drink. He is under the strong grip of material nature. Yet, he thinks that he is already free from the clutches of Maya. The question of Devahuti is for such a person who falsely claims that he is everything, that ultimately everything is void, and that there are no sinful or pious activities. These are all atheistic inventions. Actually, unless a living entity surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as instructed in Bhagavad Gita, there is no liberation or freedom from clutches of Maya. Hare Krishna. So, this particular canto, the third canto, it's the canto about understanding the material nature. So, from the title itself, I feel this is a very pertinent, relevant matter that one should be understanding. Clearly read it, understand. Because all other subject matters, creation and everything, it is very nice. But we are, as jivas, we are in this material world. As long as we understand how this material world works, then only we will be able to inquire how can we get out of this material world. Otherwise, there is no question of thinking alternative, right? Because Shastra, particularly Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, enlightens the jiva that there is much beyond this material world. And as we all know, Bhagavad Gita repeatedly says that this is Alayam. Alayam means the place where we stay. It's a place of something to be kept, or where we stay, or a place something to be kept. Now, here, Dukkalayam, it says it's full of miseries. Now, this particular aspect, even the devotees and non devotees also understand. But they don't, that spark will not come. Very few only people who are not reading the scriptures have the understanding, oh, this world is full of problems. Of course, jivas who are going through the problems, they think that these are the problem. The whole world is problem. Our birth itself is so. Why we are going through the problems? All these questions comes. But the Maya is so powerful. They are kept in this illusion. They are in these activities. They don't take time out of their busy schedule to think why I'm going through. Is this is the only thing that I have to do day in day out, perform all these activities and go through the problems, right? So it is very interesting because people are day in day out, they get up, they do all these everyday activities, they go to bed. Once again the cycle keeps on repeating. It's a never ending loop, unless, because even a simple materialist also will say, right, who are on the mode of goodness, they are also, you need to take a break. And sometimes work life also so intense, so challenging. So for some people it is rewarding, some people it is uh, there is no other way, they have to do this, different status, different situations for different people. But the summary is we are kept very busy. So in this context, I just remember there is a very beautiful experiment was done by the one of the, I think, Russian scientists. So how the habits, how our routine continues. So what he did is he put a rat in a cage, and then the rat was trying to um, escape from the cage, and it couldn't find anything. And then after some time, what he did is he opened one small window kind of thing, and then he put food there. He kept on eating, and then he will close it, then later he will, so like that he kept doing for a week. And then the rat come to the conclusion, oh, so no worry, I will stay here, but once in a while the food is coming, I will go and eat. So that is what happening. Now then he did another he opened another window. On that day, he put the food on that side, and then the rat. Can you think where it went? To the window there is no food, or the window that is there food? So interestingly, the rat kept going to the window there where the food is, but the rat is not going to the other window. So, in a simple sense, the rat should have used its intelligence. Arey Baba, why I am going to the food when there is a window open? Why can't just I escape? So, if I escape, then all the bliss is there. The food is abundant. I can go anywhere, anytime. A lot of freedom is there. But the rat is not going because the rat brain is trained, accustomed to going to that window and capturing the food. So that is the situation of jivas in this material world. Like me, we are constantly allured to these materialistic benefits. Not that they are needed, they are needed to sustain the life. But at the same time, we have to think about how do we put the complete stop for these struggles. Now, this intelligence doesn't come just like that. Very few people who have some sukruti from the past life, they are only without any association. Sometimes they get this understanding, but most of the people doesn't. So that is where, by mercy of the Lord, they come in contact with the devotees or with an association where they are educating the people. So this is Srila Prabhupada that established this organization just for enlightening, awakening of the jivas. Now, it is very interesting, Mother Devavati. So, in this chapter, Kapila Muni, who is none other than the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, uh, Radha Krishna. So, and he is giving this knowledge to his mother Devahuti, and is this Kapila Deva philosophy is also termed as a Sankhya philosophy. So, so the title is understanding the material. So it is very important that we need to understand, right? Now, fast forward, Mother Devahuti is asking a beautiful question in this uh, shloka. Mother Devahuti is asking how this passive performer of all these activities, how can he be freed from the soul as long as material nature acts on him and binds him, right? So material nature is not a Maya Devi is not a ordinary personality. She is the agent of the Lord himself, right? So it is not easy to, it's not किसी की बस की बात नहीं है, right? After all, in this material world, these things, I mean, if we go to some small place, uh, like a prisoner when it goes into jail, it's not easy for him to get out of that. Now, speak of this Maya Devi, this is right. This world is termed as Durga, right? Durgam, like it's a fort. And who is the in charge? Durga Devi. She is the superintendent of this jail. Of course, this analogy is very beautiful, but some people may get intimidated because lack of the understanding. But reality is, yes, this is a prison. There is no doubt about that. Now, Mother Devotee is saying that as long as the soul is in attached to these, I mean, in the control, not even attached, not the soul itself, under the control of Maya, these three modes of nature, how can be freed? Very beautiful question. And even tomorrow's slokas has a solution also. So let us understand. So here the three modes of nature that is also mentioned very beautifully. See, what are those three modes? We all know, right? The tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. Mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. These are the three modes of nature. So I think uh, I remember the picture that is in the Bhagavad Gita as it is written by the Srila Prabhupada. In the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, there are few pictures are there, photos. And there is one picture, very striking, very beautifully. The artist drawn it based on the Prabhupada's teachings. So the jiva, that if you look, if I, I'm just the picture is so vivid on my eyes, even though I'm not seeing that now. Uh, the jiva, and then the three modes are pictured above the clouds, and then the how these three modes are acting, like how this puppet show, how the person who is directing, he moves different threads, and the puppets, we see the audience don't know behind the curtain what is happening or who is doing, but all they see is that these puppets are very nicely dancing, very nicely talking, doing all the very nice actions. Why? Because behind the curtain, the director is pulling this thread, that thread, so that the audience who are seeing outside, they are thinking the puppet itself is moving. But no, the director or whoever it is behind that is making the different actions of that puppet. Similarly, the modes of nature act very, very heavily, not heavily. The jiva, whatever actions I am doing, it is the how the influence through the influence of these three modes. So now it's very profound understanding. Look at this. Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam will give us such a beautiful insight, because nowadays, if you look at in the society, in spite of rampant advancement, material advancement in all aspects, beautiful. If you put spirituality a little bit aside, the advancements are amazing. Look at the technological advancement, smartphones. I mean, within the palm, what you cannot do? Literally, all the desktops have become obsolete, and literally you don't need anything. Smartphone, one phone if you have in your hand, you can do so many things, right? That is an advancement. The beautiful EV cars, and everything guided everywhere. And now the trend is artificial intelligence. My god, mind blowing. Not that the technology wasn't there, but the technology was made so simple that normal person who has not completed formal education can also intuitively interact on these gadgets. Such a beautiful. Hats off to the all the engineers and scientists. The advancement, amazing, amazing, amazing. Now, for a materialist, this is the ultimate. Of course, the people who have all these luxuries, they are happy. But people who are not having this, they may look at different perspective they may have. But yet, but when a person who has a spiritual inclination, he'll be laughing. Oh, yes, these are advancements, no wonder. But look at my Prabhu's aboard, because Krishna says, right? In the spiritual world, there is no need of a sun and moon also. Because here in the material world, because of the Lord Sun, we are getting the sunlight, and sunlight is very important. Moonlight is also very important. But whereas in spiritual abode, nothing. And we were given a glimpse of that Vaikunta or planets or the Goloka, Chintamani, there everything is nectar. Here our plants give only specific. A mango plant can give only mango plant, but whereas other plants cannot give. A mango plant cannot give apple plant, but there the plants can give everything. So that is anything that they want. So that is the world we haven't seen. But spiritual person who is interacting, who is studying, who is associating, will have that understanding. It's like a mini version of Spielberg's movie, right? We all like to go to movies. Why? This monotonous regular day-to-day activities, we want to take break, something. See, some people say, they say, hey baba, we get movie, but it's not uh, very artificial. Of course, if what you are going through in your life, if you are seeing in go to the movie those 2 hours, 3 hours, if you want to see the same thing, it's not break, right? It is something imaginative. So the beautiful movies have come up, so they will spellbound, they will put you in that forget about everything, right? So people have different notions. Now earlier we used to go to movies once in a while. Now Baba, everything is available in the next version is we have TV. Okay, when I was child, we used to anchor, look forward for Saturday, Sunday, because that is when only we Saturday when local language movie, Sunday Hindi movie, and there are one or two serials in a week. But now, fast for after that, that is Doordarshan time. Now state-owned television in India. Now later the dish antenna, it has multiple channels. So at least now you have with the remote control you have different channels. Fast. This is the second version, and the first version is Doordarshan. Second version is dish, and now smartphone. My goodness, it is. You don't need to be sitting before the TV. Now it is in your hand. You, wherever you are, what to speak of in the outside, even in the bathroom, it accompanies. Where even you are in the bed, it has become a part and part of your body. So you have access to the entire world constantly. People are glued such a very miserable situation, because now we used to talk about drugs are the most dangerous, but now smartphone has become even surpass the drugs. People are going to the hell. So now, if we do all understand all this, because Bhagavad Gita says dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and we also talk about these the real problems of the life, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, all these. First of all, the primitive stage of a jiva is he doesn't even understand that he's going through the problem. That is the worst thing situation one can be. That is the state of the situation in pretty much in most of the people in the society. I mean, when we interact with some people, they don't think, hey, you guys are messed up. They say, because when preachers go and say that, hey, this is a miserable place, they say, why? I'm enjoying. People, at least the people who have all the facilities, they think they are enjoying, right? I mean, not to this is in a pessimistic way. I'm saying, when I came to first time in America, like culturally, even here, old age, uh, when I went to the work, people are like they were eating so nicely candy and all that. Of course, when you come from Indian background, especially the culturally, they are so tuned that they don't the elders, especially the very very um, senior citizens, they don't consume these kind of things. They think that is meant for the kids. But whereas here, I said, wow, that is nice. So I said, what is this? In the beginning of the first, second to second day, third day, I said, what is this weird? These people are not mature. But later I understood, wow, how open they are. At this age also, they are not bounded by the limitations of the body. They are looking forward, enjoy any time, right? That is here, especially in a capitalistic society, uh, the Maya is in a different form. It is in a very friendly form. It says, कुछ नहीं, आपका जान जब जब तक है ऐश करो. See, that is the motto. It says this life is there for enjoyment. It says it is true in that sense. So don't be put all these what do you call limitations on you. Make money, enjoy. Because constantly, the whole, if you look at the capitalistic society operations, it whole depends on the economy. Constantly, we talk about this economy. Economy, this one, one day it is up, and it's like a stock market. Stock market, it is a worst place to be. Don't take me wrong. I'm it's constantly about up and down, up and down, up and down, chasing how much, right? So constantly you are putting this. Okay, today, like the rat experiment I have seen. So you gain some today, you are happy. Tomorrow you are depressed, you go. See, the whole stock market is people think when I talk, I'm saying this is a very miserable place. Why miserable place? The money has to go from one person to pocket to the other person pocket. That is all. Today, if somebody is happy, that means there are somebody who lost that money. They should be unhappy, right? This is a whole chakra. This is like vicious cycle. So that is constituted to the as a gambling. Gambling is anytime can happen anytime. If you go to Las Vegas and see these gambling places, casinos, they have special privileges. Suppose people who are coming every day, they will provide everything, even lunch, dinner, everything they will provide. When I went for some time back, I saw these people how I mean they were, of course, before and after also. I never played gambling because before that I was also like starving, I mean, struggling for money, so I don't have the luxury. And by nature, I am cultivated that never gambling is a solution for anything. So these people are given facilities, so they don't need to leave, and they are given all different facilities. See, first of all, we need to understand why the casino is so compassionate on you. Not that they are doing any charity, because they are making money on you, and they want to attract you, they want to allure you, they want to keep you there, they want to squeeze you from you. That is the only purpose. In a capitalist society, the only thing happens there is no, of course, I'm not chastising. There are both pros and cons in every society. There is no society is perfect. So how this Maya, I'm just on a practical note I'm talking because that is where we need to because there is a knowledge and intelligence, right? See, knowledge is the facts, data, and all this. This is the knowledge. But intelligence is how you use that knowledge for your situation, for your betterment, for your advantage. That is intelligence. So, similarly, you may have so much knowledge, but what is the use of such knowledge? This is like a 20 years back. My neighbor, one of the from Indian background only, and their kid is um, very nice, very intelligent kids. I would say very. So I was stunned that this kid, I think, what age? Probably 10 years. He knows all the statistics of this NFL game or these football games. Oh, which team won, who won, and all that at that age. I was so, was thrilled. But at the same time, I had a doubt. What the crap it is? Why should I know 10 years back which team? want? What the hell I'm going to gain? Right? See, a person in the mode of goodness at least thinks that. And a person who has exposure, who is reading the Shastra, they can understand what is this data will be useful for me. Of course, they may say, somebody may say, hey, he can become a commentator of sports game, blah blah blah. Of course, if he is using that for that career, that definitely I say yes, he's using that to make money. Hats off. But most of the people they use that for just to indulge in a conversation when they are at work, when they are at school, even children also, yet they talk about all these. Of course, for those kids who are planning to go in that route to become a sports channel commentator and all that, well, I'm with them. Yes, go ahead and do. But other people, when they are just time pass, they for a discussion they do this memorization and all this. What is the use of that? It's just merely wasting the time. So having just knowledge is not important. The intelligence is what it is important, because right, one of the aphorism of the spirituality is atato jignasa. See, the living entity should have this intelligence. So often devotees also talk about different political situations. Once in a while we do talk. Nothing wrong in it, in my opinion. Why not? Because we are living in the society and we are electing the our politicians or the lawmakers. So living in the society, when you don't have the right perspective, because in a democratic setup, as a citizen, you have to cast your vote. So you have to have whom you are voting, because the laws that are made by these lawmakers is going to influence your practical life. So devotees definitely need to have an understanding, but there is a difference. Constantly thinking about and discussing about that will help. No, once in a while discuss. When the situation arises, just keep. See, that intelligence is there. See, sometimes I hear that no, you should not see. Well, how many days you can be separate from that? You can't live. You cannot abandon your responsibilities in your society. You are not in a forest. I'm openly saying that intelligence, lack of that intelligence, what makes the difference. But this is what here Mother Devahuti is also pointing us. See, in the flavor of this thing, we may think this one, but that because Maya is so powerful, it comes, it just sneaks into us. But these discussions also, in one way, why some devotees says also very important. Why? Because that taste when you get, you keep on discussing that one. Maya is like that. It gives you the taste, right? How when you go to Costco, these big shops, when you go, what the vendors do, they give you samples, right? Right away they will give you sometimes there will be so many vendors. If you go in lunchtime, probably you can have finish your lunch, right? I'm not talking about David. Generally, I mean, on a general token. Because why? They want to give you a taste of it. Because sometimes you don't want to buy. So similarly, Maya gives you that taste. So that is the reason devotees suggest that try to avoid it. I do see it say that is also very valid argument. Very valid argument. You can't. So so it is important that as a gruhastha we balance, because it is also there are we have duties in society, and our higher aspiration is to get out of this material world, right? We want to put a full stop for the real problems, janma mrityu jara vyadi. And when we come to the, especially we are the followers of the gopis. Radharani is our worshipable uh, we followers of the Radharani, right? We are Rupanugas. Rupa Goswami has elaborately given this so much literature for us. So they, and not only we don't want, we don't care about whether we have solution for this real problem. We care about what? Assisting the Radharani in service to the Krishna. That is the what is that we are talking about here? The three modes of nature. But here, Srila Prabhupada is talking beyond that mode. Beyond that mode. Even Bhagavad Gita says, right? Traigunya Vishaya Vedha. It says, you get out of these three modes of nature. See, even mode of goodness is good, but it is not the end of the story. You have to go transcend beyond that. That is the ultimate. See, the gopis doesn't care. They never thought about putting a full stop for this real time, real problem. All they want is how their beloved lover, Lord Krishna, will be happy. They want to see happiness of the Supreme Lord. That is amazing. I mean, I before coming to Srila Prabhupada association, sorry, as an organization, I never, even in my wildest dreams, I never thought about it because I'm ignorant. I never given that knowledge. In a society, that knowledge is not there, right? That is the ultimate bhava. So now, I think we are going everywhere, but I think it's a relevant ways I'm trying to bring everything together. So, Mother Devati is saying that how do we, how do we? These are so far we have discussed how the material, the three modes are acting. Now, even see, I will tell you a practical thing. This understanding these three modes of nature will be so helpful for you because we talk about other than the three real problems, we talk about also three miseries, right? Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika problems, right? In all these miseries caused by one's own body, miseries caused by mother, nature, miseries caused by other living entities, right? So in all these three miseries, the only one thing that you could, we could, or I could practice is on myself, my body and my mind. The others, Mother Nature, you don't have any damn control. When earthquake comes, you don't know. When what happens, you don't know. Then what about others? Then constantly in the society, we chastise, okay, all my problems due to others. Right? This is, I mean, now that term is very important. Why I'm saying, say for example, in our forget about the rest of the world, in your own family, all the forget about now after Gruhastha life, in Gruhastha life, before the kids, you and your wife, me and my wife, right? So now we came together, we married, we are coming from a different background. Our whole, how I am brought up, how my wife brought up, it's totally different. And when there are so many differences, when the siblings, when the kids born to one mother itself, so many things because of once they are born, as long as in the family they have, once they are exposed to society, then their influence, society influence comes. So as they are growing, their exposure to the vast society is becoming as growing, and their perspective changes, their behavior changes, so and so things. Now, on a practical ground, when a husband or wife behaves, sometimes people get so frustrated, the arguments and whatnot, these quarrels, so many things, right? So many diverse cases, all these things when both husband and wife um, have these uh, understandings. Even don't take me wrong, even in so-called devotee families also there are so many differences. Why? Maya. Maya is so powerful. It's not easy just because for last 10 years I'm practicing what I'm practicing. I'm nothing. Mm, constantly bombarding, but yet there is a hope for us. So this knowledge gives. Now, let's say, um, let's try to understand these modes of nature influence on us. Now, a particular person in what mode depends, sorry, in whatever mode, that's how he reacts. Now, for that, not only the person by birth, how their environment, in what mode they are, and then comes in the, so okay, that is one. Let's address that one. So in this case, a person, see, no person is fully in one mode. There is a mixed motion. So in one person, the percentage of one mode is varies from the other one. So predominantly in one mode they are. So when other person comes and yells at you, then earlier, before understanding this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, you also react. Hey, why are you? You also tit for tat. That quarrel goes on. That argument goes on. Okay. Now, when you have the Bhagavad Gita understand, then you say, oh, this person is predominantly in that mode, and that's the reason is reacting like that. So you have little compassion. You have little compassion. Oh, it's not the fault of her or his, but because of her nature. When nature means here mode of nature, right? That's what it is. So because of that, reaction is like that, you become compassionate. Now fast forward, as our devotional practice becomes more intense and mature, then you will be, oh, you will feel now from little compassion to you feel more sympathetic. And then you pray to the Radha Shyamasundar. Radha Shyamasundar, Lord, oh Lord, please give us the strength to overcome these modes of nature. Please not only help me, but help my other half. Like that, you pray, right? So there is a gradual maturity you can see. Where that maturity has come? That maturity has come by reading, by listening the Shastra, right? Otherwise, never, probably we never think about that. At the most, because a person who doesn't have this Bhagavad Gita knowledge may think on a moral ground, yeah, sympathetic. But now you go beyond. Yes, this is not due to her or his, but because the modes of nature, we are so much. Now, then how do we overcome all this? Right? The problem is clearly now we understand. Yes, Mother Devati is saying, who am I? I'm insignificant. Mother Devati is asking this. How do we be free from? So the problem statement is now very clear because it is very important. In life, our progress depends on the clarity what we are, because especially now when people who are on the research projects, they establish the problem statement, because if you don't have the what exactly you are doing, right, anything we are doing, we have to have a clear cut idea. So now this problem statement is clear. We are under the spell or under the control of the material nature. And little bit more simplified or more clear is we are under the control of these three modes of nature. Then how do we do? Right? That is very, very. Now, the clarity of the question is very important. Now we are all clear, at least on this particular sloka. So, since I think next two slokas really talks about that, but just because in to sum up the whole problem we have talked at length. Now, little bit that we'll talk about. There are some stories also. How when I stories means these are pastimes. Now, just King Janaka, who conquered these, who is mentioned as uh, has a pretty good jnana. I mean, his ability to intelligence is referred as one of the beautiful personality that could be a role model for us. And then Prahlad Maharaj, it's a beautiful, right? Prahlad Maharaj, at the age, such a young age, he got this knowledge. Now he is not aloof. His father is torturing him like anything. He's frying, he's trying to fry him in the oil, and he's subjecting, he's throwing from the mountains, whatnot. I mean, come on. The tortures I am going through in my day-to-day life is nothing comparable. His own father is torturing him. How can you imagine? Prahlad Maharaj was blissfully is accepting. Why? He come to the conclusion. He knows this problem, and then he also knows the solution. He is completely surrendered. The solution is completely surrendered to the Lord Krishna. When we are surrendered to Him, why do we worry? Right? Very beautiful. Bhagavad Gita is a manual for us. It is there is no other literature on the planet Earth that can solve all our problems. This is the only book that could give us the shelter. Not only help us to live a stress-free life, a blissful life. Because Prahlad Maharaj is so blissful in this all these tortures, right? Another thing, see, fast forward, devotee, how these pastimes are so beautiful. He's he's after how upon his begging, Lord Narsimhadev appears, right? And he proved that the omnipresence of the Supreme Lord. And he says, when his father asking, "Show me you are so fearless, right? Show me who on whose strength you are talking all this." He's clearly say, "Yeah, he's everywhere." And he says, "He's in the pillar." Yes. And then Lord manifests. See, look at that. When complete surrender is there, that Lord will take. How? Just in your own case, our own children, right? How we protect them day in, day out, right? We protect them. How that quality is in us? Because that is the quality of the Supreme Lord. See, Jiva, we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. We are, our qualities are none other than the qualities of the Supreme Lord. But the qualities, the percentage of quality what I have is insignificant. But yet that quality is there. So here it is. So in nutshell, the Prahlad Maharaja is the one of the very good example for us. And fast forward, when Lord Narasimhadev appears, what he did after glorification of the Supreme Lord, then Prahlad, when Lord Narasimhadev asked, "What do you want?" Then he said, "Please deliver my father." Look at the compassionate. Look at that compassionate. Prahlad Maharaj didn't think, "Hey, even though he's my father, he's tortured." He didn't say, "Lord, please fry him in a oil." He didn't say. He said, "Please deliver him." See, the devotee's nature is they are so compassionate, and they say they pray the welfare of everybody. So in this case, Prahlad Maharaj also uh, requesting the Supreme Lord to deliver his father, even though he tortured him, hell out of him. Right? So that is the compassionate. So this is how. So our in just one more pastime I heard, very nice. This in Vrindavan there was a Swami and a devotee, and every day he used to go to take bath in the river Yamuna, Mother Yamuna. So then on the way there is another follow another religious family. Then they were jealous of him, or and then they were throwing dust on him while on his way. He was taking bath. When I is coming back, is like that. They were throwing several times, but this devotee didn't say anything. He's just going back and taking shit like that, probably 100 times. Then the devotee's patience, his tolerance melted those people also. When they came out and bowed down to him, and they said, "We are so heinous people, please forgive us." Then in reply, this sadhu said, no, 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 I'm very thankful to you that actually whatever that in 100 days that I could do, you made me to do in single day. What is that? Every day, maybe I'll take bath once. And then now you made me to take bath. Look at that. They were so became shameful, and then they said, please forgive. They were begging. So that is the sadhus, the jiva that who nurtures, who surrenders to the Lord, they transform in others also in a different ways. They have such a great tolerance because they are aloof of these three modes of nature. So we have 2 minutes left. So the summary is the problem statement is when the jiva is under the control of this maya, that is in the under the control of these three modes of nature, how can he be freed? Now, some examples we have seen Janak Maharaj, and then in particularly Prahlad Maharaj, right? And then the final solution is taking the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the only way. So, how do we take shelter? Gradually, every day, our sadhana should be. The sadhana is like a gas in a car. So, for us, this is a spiritual fuel for our progress. So, without that, it's very difficult to sustain. Otherwise, the three modes of nature just suck us and carries us. So this is the final conclusion of the Shastra. So because Panditaha Samadarshinaha, that statement in the Bhagavad Gita, it says you should be seeing all the jivas at the equal platform. Of course, then we come, how can that platform one can achieve only through the reading of the Shastra, that is knowledge, and intelligence, practicing through that, will be able to overcome all these problems, and particularly the control. If we want to get out of the control of this material nature, three modes of natures, the only thing is taking the shelter of the Supreme Lord, lotus feet. That is the final conclusion in nutshell. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Um, so I will stop here, uh, and I wish you a blissful day, spiritually enlightened, Krishna conscious spiritual day.